they're 2-8 with him this year.
Yeah.
They're 14-11 without him.
Yeah.
And they were in the middle of a losing streak when he came back, and they were giving up so many points per game. They were even more awful defensively, and they were bad defensively before he got healthy, but they were even worse when he got out there. And then first game, he's not there. They beat Minnesota, and they beat Minnesota handily. At this point, I don't know what's next for Trae Young. Like, it's very easy to say, because of his previous production, he's just going to go back to that player in a new situation. Or this is just the trend and this is the beginning of a decline that he's starting to go in, because the shooting has been declining. The defense is not going to get better. The finishing at the basket is not going to get better. And right now on Polymarket, they have a prompt. It's what NBA stars are most likely to get traded. Trae Young is at 64%.
Damn.
The two players over him, one of them is Jonathan Kuminga. Jonathan Kuminga has the highest percentage chance to get traded at 83%. So this is people's making these predictions. So people believe Jonathan Kuminga is out of Golden State. We've been saying that for a couple years now. Probably won't happen. Number 2 is Keon Ellis at 70%. And number 3 is Trae Young at 64%. And the only other player that has an above 50% chance, according to people, is AD at 58%. And they have been linked. The Atlanta Hawks wanting to get Anthony Davis. Yep. There was a report that came out that said that the Mavericks, they would trade AD to the Hawks, but they don't want Trae Young back. So that was a report that came out.
He's his contract is up this year. Yeah. I think it's a PO.
I might have a trade for you where the Mavericks aren't getting Trae Young, and it's a 3-team trade that gives what I believe is the most point guard needy team in the NBA a point guard of the future. That's the Minnesota Timberwolves. So in this trade package, the Timberwolves are going to trade Julius Randle, Dante DiVincenzo, and Rob Dillingham. And they're going to get back...
So just Randle and Dante?
Yeah, okay, fair enough. But there's a top 10
Fuck
pick.
You.
So the Hawks are going to get Anthony Davis, Dante, and Rob. The Mavs are going to get Julius Randle, Luke Kennard, Mike Conley, Leonard Miller, a 2031 first-round pick from the Hawks, some second-round picks. The Wolves will be getting not only Trae Young, but a backup center for when Rudy Gobert's off the floor and Daniel Gafford. That's the 3-team trade. I think it's interesting because the Wolves have been starving for this long-term solution at point guard. I look at Trae Young's game. He has stagnated both as a shooter and also as he ages. These physical limitations have started to catch up to him. But if you put him in an environment like Minnesota with that much rim protection, that much wing defense, it feels like the ideal fit and the ideal marriage. Where the Mavericks, you are moving off from Anthony Davis. And I actually got this from Fanspo, and in the trade it included the pick swap, the Bucks and Pelicans pick swap that the Hawks have. But to me, I'm saying to myself, the Hawks are not trading that pick swap to get Anthony Davis, who's 4 or 5 years older than Trae Young. But in this move, the Hawks are going to turn Trae Young into AD, Dante, and a long-term point guard of the future.
So excuse me for a sec. The Timberwolves win this, I think, the most.
No,
I think
they lose.
Getting Trae and Gafford.
They lose.
Because they trade away Randall and Dante.
No, you're gonna, like, with all due respect to Trae, I don't want to make it sound like I'm gonna be rude to Trae Young, but if you're in Minnesota, you have to look at your books and what you have right now. Rudy Gobert has been one of the best defenders in basketball this year. He is the anchor. He is your defense.
But he stays in this trade, right?
No, yeah, I'm saying he stays.
Okay.
I'm saying he stays, but he's your anchor. He's 33. So he's going to get up there in age. You know, that how is that going to work? How is that going to fizzle out? We'll see. I don't think Trae Young and Rudy are the ideal pick and lob type of threat. You know, I still think Rudy struggles with his hands a bit. Trae Young, like I said, contract is up. You're going to have to attach 40 plus to him already. So now Minnesota, you're sitting there. You have to pay Trae Young because you kind of made this deal. Now you have to attach $150 to $200 million to a guy, like we said, that's kind of regressing in a sense. A guy that's not going to help your defense, you know, a guy that's not probably going to help your shooting, where you've built this identity off this defensive-oriented unit, somebody who you're going to have to hide. You know, I think Minnesota doesn't need he's not a superstar, but, you know, like that type of level of talent at point guard. I don't think they need to go that route. I think they would just be, you know, kind of hindering themselves with that type of money.
It depends on the trade they get. If they get the trade that was the trade of a couple years ago, then this is a big win for Minnesota.
Yeah, you're buying low on Trae. And also, Riv, one of my biggest gripes with Minnesota, we watched it in the Denver game. When Rudy Gobert's off the floor, they don't have a prayer for guarding some of these teams.
Nope.
And when you look at Wembanyama, when you look at Jokic, and you look in the Western Conference, they need another big. And this trade of getting Gafford, who's the same age as Trae. If I'm Minnesota, I'm looking around the league. all of these teams are printing young guards, like a Colin Gillespie. I look at even a Ryan Rollins in Milwaukee,
Those are
and they're
cheap.
developing them well. Those teams are giving them opportunities. The Wolves are failing Rob Dillingham. He's lagging DMPs. They're basically honing and reining him back in and saying, we want you to be a more traditional point guard, when that was never the reason why he was the top 10 pick. So I look at this, and you're getting yourself a developed surefire point guard.
Say that for me again. So the Hawks get Anthony Davis and who else?
Rob Dillingham and Dante DiVincenzo.
And the Mavericks get who?
Julius Randle, a future first-round pick, Luke Kennard, and then along with those two players, Leonard Miller and Mike Conley, that's for the salary.
Okay, so what do you think about Trae Young?
I like the idea of Trae and AD together for the sole fact that you finally have an athletic big that you can run the pick and roll with that can score in different facets. And it will alleviate obvious pressure that if Trae Young gets beat off the dribble and now somebody's funneled right into the paint, you're met by Anthony Davis, who is one of the best defenders. Now, why I understand I have a hard time fully going all in is because Anthony Davis struggles to stay on the court, as does Trae Young. But that pick and roll would be legitimately great. Now, we talk about the point guard, power forward fits. And a lot of people, when they talk about Trae Young, they're like, oh my God, the pairing with Giannis would just be a dream come true. But again, a player like Giannis, he's not a pick and roll player. As AD, though, you look at how successful he was with the Los Angeles Lakers, with D'Angelo Russell, with Dennis Schroeder, with LeBron James, obviously, Austin Reeves. They did a lot of their damage with the pick and roll. AD is a great screener. Him and Trae Young would have a lot of success. It's just the concern of trading a lot to get AD. You do have Trae Young expiring. Do we want to risk this just being a 1 year? Let's see what happens. It works out. Now we pay these guys X amount of money, and now we're really handcuffing ourselves to the idea that these guys might get hurt. On paper, in theory, I like it. I like where your head is at, though. But similar archetype in Dillingham and Trae Young. Trae Young's just obviously way more accomplished. Dillingham, the idea is that he's this elite sniper shooter. He was that sniper in college. But obviously he hasn't gotten burned to know whether or not he's still a sniper or not. He barely plays. And we were going to talk about the Wolves, so this might be my time to give a little spiel about them in terms of failing Anthony Edwards or Anthony Edwards being upset. They went to back-to-back WCFs. Your all-in move was trading for Rob Dillingham. You traded 2 first-round picks for Rob Dillingham, and you don't play him. It was way too risky.
I agree with you. It wasn't necessarily the most calculated move because it feels like Chris Finch never had a developmental plan in place for Dillingham.
No.
I do believe the Wolves' best path forward to finding the solution long-term at point guard, it's trading for an established one. And I feel like for Trae to support him by putting him alongside Jaden, Ant-Man, and then that
and Gobert. I agree with that.
Line rim protection.
It's well said.
It's the best way to get back to when he was in 2021 and that Hawk team went to the conference finals. It was the perfect assembly of shooters and finishers. This is the closest he's going to get to that.
Yeah, but you got to think too, like, this isn't the East. This is the West. Like, if you're going up against the Spurs, I don't think Trae Young is the ideal guy you want to bring in to now match up with their 3 guards on a consistent basis. If you're going up against OKC, this isn't the guy you want out there that can just consistently pick them off. You know what I'm saying? I think he's the ideal fit maybe on offense.
I think Minnesota is trying to be extremely calculated with what their next move is.
They have to.
Because it could make or break Anthony Edwards staying or requesting a trade.
100%.
That's essentially what it comes down to. So I think an all-in move for Trae Young is risky because I am under the belief that I think Trae Young is declining. I don't think that you can win at a high level with him with the amount of money that he also wants to demand. Because the amount of money that he wants is going to be
North
the
of 40.
top 2 highest payroll on the team. It's gonna probably, like, Anthony Edwards is gonna make the most money. Trae Young might be number 2, like 40 million, maybe a little bit more for Trae.
He'll definitely make more than 40
gonna make
million.
more
This
than
guy's
40.
still one of the best playmakers
But that's what I'm
in the
saying.
game.
If I have to pay Trae Young any more than 40
Didn't Fox
million,
just get 45?
I'm like completely out on that idea. Like, I don't think that your team can survive and you could build a roster around 3 players making so much money and Gobert and Trae Young
And they just paid
still
Nas,
surround them.
who's been
Can I say this? And I get what Rudy Gobert has done for the team as a whole.
Don't say it.
5 firsts 5.
He's been
amazing, but
like
5
arguably their most
first.
valuable player.
Well, that's a
I
win
don't
trade for them.
disagree.
That's a great trade for them.
I'm
They want it. They have a clear point guard problem. I don't
100%.
think that getting any of the star point guards
I
is
agree.
the reasonable solution.
I agree.
So to put a bow on this, you don't want to see Trae Young get.
If
go
I'm
to
Minnesota, I say no. I'm cool off
You don't
the
like
deal.
Trae in Minnesota.
Personally, no. I think that
What about
straps
you,
you up
John?
too much.
For the right price. A lot of it too is the extension you're eventually going to give him. I'm looking at the coaching staff though, and I would say that the best possible path forward to getting better and not stagnating is acquiring Trae. Even if he's regressing, it'll be such a substantial upgrade in a Western Conference this year where the Wolves, we went the back-to-back WCS. When's that next step going to happen? He might regress, and it can still make you a much better team if that's even true.
I'm out on it.
I feel like if you get
You
Trae,
don't need Trae to be what he was in
Finch.
2021.
I'm out on it because I'm scared what the price tag's going to be.
So what do you need him to be? If you don't need him to be 2021, what do you need him? There is no middle ground with Trae.
You need Trae Young if you're
It's
trading
either
for him to be a
2021
star.
or what he is now. There is no middle
You
ground.
need him to be a star. You're not trading
With
for
Anthony
Trae Young
Edwards,
for him
what
not to be.
What I'm saying is that his responsibility, especially as a scorer, is going to be alleviated. He's not going to have the
With Trae
same.
Young?
I'm talking about Trae. I'm not talking about. I'm saying with Anthony Edwards being
Yeah.
your franchise player.
He's saying Trae Young
Trae
will
Young
have the
does
same
not have to be
responsibility.
the leading scorer. He's not have to be the. He's going to be your playmaker. He's going to be taking some responsibility away from Ant, which could be a beneficiary of this team.
Yeah.
What I'm saying to you is that he doesn't need to be the one leading this team. He's going to be a complementary player, and offensively, he's going to be the playmaker.
I don't think that's why
which
he's
adds an extra
inefficient,
level.
though. I don't think him being inefficient is because he's the number one guy.
Bad shot diet?
His bad his shot diet.
His
He's
DNA
just
is
just
the
not.
player,
He's
the
just not
shot
good.
quality.
Like he's not a good scorer. Like he's not a good one-on-one scorer. Like
In isolation, he's regressed as a scorer. I agree with you.
and if Ant's off the floor, he's back to that. I feel like it's going to be the same
Trae
vibe.
Young at his worst is a substantial upgrade. That's what I'm getting at.
Yes.
And for Minnesota, they want ideally when you acquire a player of this caliber, you want him to be his very best. What I'm saying is that even if he's not his very best, it would still make them a much better basketball team.
They also do have a premium, though, which, fine, you're talking about getting Gafford in this deal as well.
I think that's dope.
But having the premium of Randall, Gobert, and Naz Reid is size that not many teams have the luxury.
Jaden, too.
You're saying you get Gafford, fine. But Julius also provides the ability to stretch out.
But Randall might not be there if Trae's there.
No, but that's what I'm
Oh, yeah,
saying.
Randall's gone.
That's exactly what
Yeah.
I'm saying.
I think if this move,
You know what? I heard it.
I
heard
think
it.
if this move doesn't, you don't feel any better before, don't do it. Like I don't. This move doesn't tell me I'm closer to OKC or the Spurs.
Do you guys all think that Trae Young is getting traded before the deadline?
Nah,
I don't
he's
think
traded
so.
in the summer.
Not before the deadline. I expect to happen in the offseason.
Yeah.
And I also don't expect the Wolves to make this move, but I thought it was in.
Because
We
right
didn't
now
think
it's
that
a 64%
Let's
chance.
forget about Luka. Like that trade obviously was nuts. We didn't expect half the moves to be made at the deadline that got made. Like
Yeah.
Brandon Ingram getting traded out of nowhere shocked the world.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, again, excluding the Luka Doncic trade, but moves were made last offseason, last trade deadline.
The owner came out though, and the owner loves Trae, and the owner's son loves Trae, which is why it gives me that little bit of hesitation.
Trey gave a giant boost back to Atlanta that
Yeah.
they were missing for years.
That's why I don't think he'll get traded. I think they'll have the DC to move him in the offseason.
I mean, listen, for
and who's going
Atlanta,
to trade him for him with that player
That's
option?
what I'm
You know
saying.
what I'm saying? He's on a one-year
It's a
deal.
risky deal because the thing is, exactly, he's declining. He's not accepting his player option.
for Atlanta, what I'm
Yeah.
trying to do is I'm trying to give Trae one last hurrah. So I'm not trading the 2026 Pelicans pick at all.
No shit.
That
That's no
is
way.
the franchise future potentially that you could bring into this organization. And you feel comfortable about letting Trae walk if you want to let him walk. I think they should still make the AD trade. But the trade package that would work to get him would be Porzingis, Luke Kennard, and Risa Shea. I think Risa Shea is whack. I think that he's not good.
I think you're disrespecting
maybe-
20-year-old who's got a lot of upside as a high-end rotation.
He's averaging
High-end
like
3-and-D,
player.
that's
He's
really
averaging
it.
like 8 points.
He's
Bro.
averaging 10 points a game.
Okay.
He's also 20.
On what? Like, yes, he's young. The allure is that he's young and he could develop. So let him go develop in Dallas. That's fine. You know,
Keep that man far away from Cooper Flag.
give me a year of Trae, Dyson, Nikhil, AD, Jalen Johnson. Let's see what we could do in the East.
Okay.
That's how I'd approach it. Give
It
me
does
one.
sound
Give
awesome.
me one
so
run.
Trae accepts his player option,
But here's the
Give me
thing.
one run.
I love that idea. I love it.
but then you let Trae walk for
risky.
nothing.
It's
You let Trae
risky.
walk
I
for
do love
nothing?
Anthony Davis.
It
Trade's the
depends.
perfect
Yeah.
fit. By the way.
Perfect.
That's the best.
It's
fit for these
flawless,
two
but
players.
it's so fucking
There's
risky.
so many injury issues.
Everything's
two
risky with
players.
Atlanta at this point.
But I
You're
feel like
not wrong.
if you are not giving up the 2026 Pelicans pick,
You do anything?
it's not risky. Like
I
Luke
agree.
Kennard buy, Porzingis buy, Reese Shea
and
buy.
KP's on expiring anyways.
Like, okay, I'm good off those. Like Dallas, if you think Reese Shea could fit alongside Cooper Flag in the long term and develop him, here you go.
It's just I say risky because one, you're also playing with the emotions
You
of
already paid
Atlanta
Jalen
Hawks
Johnson
fans.
too, though, so you're kind of good. And you already paid Dyson, like
because they would have
paid Alexander
Dyson,
Walker.
Alexander Walker, Onyeka
Yeah.
off the
But
bench.
then listen again, Hawks fans are going to start getting crazy. Like, all right, we got AD now, Trae Young. There's no excuse. We can actually go
Low key,
and do some.
like at least make an ECF.
We can go do some.
I'm gonna be honest, bro. If they get AD, if Trey is that guy and he goes back and says what Trey is and AD's healthy, God willing,
Can't say
they
that.
can make
Nasty.
something.
It's
they can
risky
make a run.
because AD at this point you can't
can't
say if
trust
he's healthy.
him.
Like it gives them a better chance to do
I'll be all
anything
in.
than
I'll
what
be
they
all
are
in.
right now. Like it gives them an actual pathway.
On paper, yes.
And then if they do decide to bring Trey back, you use a 2026 first round pick from the Pelicans on a player. You add that player to the
in a
team.
draft class this good.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think that Atlanta they can go get AD if they wanted to.
Shit, if you get Darren, you trade Trey in a heartbeat. With all due respect.